Whoa, we're back to some Bleach Soul Resonance, and we're going to be going over a few things, of course, notably, should you pull on this new True Shikai Ichigo? Quick answer for anyone just sort of, popping in for the answered question. Yeah, you should. At least B0. I've always said that, I've always maintained that, but we're going to go into a bit more on the nerfs, his kit being cut in half, his buffs, things that have sort of been circulating, and why I think that for B0 enjoyers, maybe even for B1 enjoyers, the whole kit being cut in half, damage thing, how he stacks up against other DPSs, etc., doesn't really matter. And I think that this issue is more of a problem for the B2, B4, B6 enjoyers, people like that. So we'll go into greater detail. If you want to, I'll probably leave a timestamp of when I start talking about that in the actual video, so just click on that. To start off, though, I did get into Mirror's High. The Mirror's High beta test is starting in 3 or 4 days, I believe, something like that, based on time zone. And so I will be there. I'll be making a video a day, cataloging day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, day... I shan't even say it. But however long the closed beta test runs for, we'll be doing a daily video just talking about how the daily experience feels. That way you can get a grasp on how that, the acquisition of materials and stuff like that, sort of keeping in mind that we will, of course, be getting a bunch of rewards to experience the closed beta, I'm sure. Secondly, apparently, our beautiful boy, True Shikai Ichigo, and let me actually go over there. Our beautiful boy, True Shikai Ichigo, has had his kit cut in half, quote unquote, that is by dev confirmation or leak or what have you, by the IP holder. Now, we will talk about something. We will put this out there. Obviously, a lot is to blame when it comes to this game on Shueisha, but there is an amount of transparency that is required before I start to finger wag you. Saying this after the fact is not transparency, and I would say that though the bulk of the blame still lies on a Shueisha figure for doing this in the first place. Same reason that Grimmjow couldn't be based. Same reason that Okieta probably couldn't be based. So same reason that Grimmjow had to be released late. Same reason that Kenpachi had to be pulled up early, right? Blah, blah, blah. There is still an amount of blame that lies on the person making the thing, even if I would say that the bulk is on the IP holder. Shueisha has obviously been very vindictive to this group of devs. That said, if you are a free-to-play or low-spending player, you have the best of the both worlds, because in regards to should you pull, yes, you should pull True Shikai Ichigo. True Shikai Ichigo at 0 boundaries, probably at 1 boundary, which if we get enough rewards, I'll probably grab a one dupe. He is amazing. He has his issues. He can get hit out of his combos, so there is an amount of him sort of taking a lot of damage during his animations, but I assume those will be the things that get targeted in buffs. For whatever reason, they had to release him in his state, and I assume they have to buff him out of it, which is annoying, but again, the transparency in what's happening is up to the devs. The state that he's in is up to the IP holders. So fuck you, Shueisha. And also, there better be great compensation coming for people who did go in for B2, who did go in for B4, and, who did go into maybe even B6. Now, if you're talking strictly about power level, talking strictly about does he still gap the game? I would say yeah. I would say yes. I would say that True Shikai Ichigo is a better DPS than Okieta by a good amount. If you compare B0 True Shikai Ichigo to B0 Okieta with a B1 to B0 Aizen and a B1 to B0 Nellel, I do think that True Shikai Ichigo is strictly better. Same thing with Kenpachi, same thing with Grimmjow. So in that regard, I do think he is capping the game. Especially if I consider B1 the natural end to the low spending and free to play market, right? I think the character is incredibly good. I would be interested even still with all we know about going in for a B1. Do I think the character is in need of sweeping buffs? No, not really. I think there are some consistency tweaks they could make. I think I was watching Aaron's video the other day on this topic in terms of him getting buffed, which is like, I think he said something like I'm 97% satisfied, but there's that 3% that, you know, 3% that they could work on. And I think that's like a fair estimation, right? If you really want to. A lot of my problems just come from the same thing they always do when it comes to DPS. Nellel isn't made for him. And we know that. And what we might know as well is that maybe Yuryu ends up being his tactic now, because Yuryu is looking more and more like he's getting pushed back. Now, I did get asked recently, you know, as of a day or two ago, should I pull for a dupe of Tsushika Ichigo? The answer is very obvious, and this is the same way it goes with every single gacha game you will ever play. We have a character coming in 19 days, a character coming in 40 days, a character coming in 61 days. During this time, your pity will pass over, and you have 82 days to pull True Shikai Ichigo. Now, I know people are impatient, and I know that, you know, even as free-to-plays, we can bend to the will of pulling immediately. But I personally don't understand what you need to pull boundaries on True Shikai Ichigo for immediately. He's already better than all of your other B0, B1 characters. He might get buffed, which could be cool. I don't think they will be impossibly flagrant buffs or anything. But I think they will be meaningful enough to be like, oh, actually, I don't need the B1. Oh, I don't need the B2. Again, to anyone who did pull, hopefully you are compensated fully. Hopefully we are all compensated for the woes of not only Shueisha but Nuverse, of course. Again, it is a dueling problem, not a singular problem. There is blame on both sides, and I don't think that this is one of those situations where we can just say fuck Shueisha, even though I love saying it. I love it. I'm addicted to it. You already know I'm obsessed with it. But as far as pulling for him, I would grab a B0. We are getting a lot of rewards supposedly during this time. Should be about 16,000 Jade cumulatively, not the number, but the amount of pulls. So I would count the 10 pulls that I've put into him from the free tickets, right? I think those count. And we got the 10 pulls for the weapon. I think that with that in mind, he's very much worth pulling. I'm already back up to 22,660 Jade. Is Nellel worth pulling? I would just say no again. You can see, again, the 10 pulls have added towards hers, but I would just say no. There's no reason to tie yourself to this character. I think that by the time this video comes out, you can see it here, 13 minutes left, Ulquieta will no longer be a summonable character, obviously. I would not have suggested you pull for Ulquieta if you're just starting. Even if you got Ichigo, Nellel on the reroll, I'd say continue to save your points towards new characters. It is what it is. Yeah, if you're new or rerolling or returning, just save. If you have Gin, can you feel good about just focusing on Gin? And the answer is yeah, of course. Gin remains very powerful. There is nothing wrong with just using Gin. There's nothing wrong with anchoring your ship to Gin or tethering yourself to Gin. He is very powerful. There's no real downside to using Gin. He synergizes better with Nell. He synergizes better with Mayuri right now. Well, everyone synergizes with Mayuri, really, but I would just say that Nellel was literally made to support Gin, so it feels better to use Gin for a lot of people. That said, I do think Ichigo mogs the shit out of him, so it's not like this is going to be a forever thing. I did see Giku say that maybe they could add more base crit rate to this character. Yeah, sure, why not? I have 87.7% right now. I have 110% crit damage, which is being massively buffed by the ailment. I've got 156% ailment. Ult charge doesn't really matter. I feel great about the character personally. I do think that this character has highlighted that maybe ult charge on this character could be a little better just to make her rotation smoother. So I have been considering just to make True Shikai Ichigo's rotations feel a bit smoother with Nellel until at least Nellel goes away. Maybe adding a little, ult charge rate on her secondaries. Everyone just using ult charge. That might be something I look into personally. I do like the idea of grabbing a little ult charge just to get this character off the ground, but then I would have to be building for her right now, and it's like, do I really want to just be using my time, grabbing more stamps for her? I mean, maybe she is good, obviously, but yeah, as far as the pull goes, as far as my review, I think it's phenomenal. Reminder, of course, that this is a free-to-play lens. I don't think that it is wise to, even if you, there's nothing wrong with you pulling and going for multiple copies the day a character drops, you're excited, blah, blah, blah. But it's never really wise to dupe hunt the first day, any gacha. But especially this gacha where we know there's so much Shueisha meddling. You know that the characters are sometimes coming out and they're getting buffs later. Just grab your B0, walk away, wait a week, wait a few days. Something will come up. We'll see. We'll get more news on the character. We'll get more impressions from people. I personally, in no gacha have I ever played, did I ever stop and go, I need to pull 5 copies of this character in one day. I think the same day, I don't know if this was the case. I think the day that Soifon came out and I literally pulled her with free-to-play tickets, I think I waited until the next day to pull her B1, right? I can't remember. Same thing with Grimjo and Zael. I didn't pull another one at all, but I always wait almost a week before I go back in for another pull session. I always do. And it's because, not because of this developer, not because of the buffs, not because of nerfs, not because of blah, blah, blah. It's just because I don't really understand why you need to use all of your currency immediately. Because especially with a character like Ichigo, if most of my box is B0 or B1, and True Shikai Ichigo currently for B0 and B1 accounts is gapping the other characters, then I don't even really feel incentivized to go back in for a B1 or a B2. Because for me, I'm just like, well, he's already gapping my characters. Does he really even need it? It's the white Ichigo conundrum, where this character really so good, even though he's a tactics character. I was like, do I even need a boundary for this guy? Like, he's so crazy. I was like, well, I don't even think I need one. Like, why would I even go back in for a boundary for a character that's this good? So I don't know. Those are just my thoughts. Quick thoughts on Shikai Ichigo, True Shikai Ichigo. We'll see more as time goes on. Actually, by the time this comes out, we probably would have gotten the buffs or been privy to them. This is being recorded probably 2 full days before it releases, because I do have something else coming. I have the showcase to do still. So this is just my quick thoughts in the post-mortem of the showcase. And remember that for the showcase, I was no rotation knowledge, no real comfortable going between him and Nellel, not really understanding like how wonky they are, just like blind testing them to see how it feels, and I still was impressed. So there's that. True Shikai Ichigo, the man that you are. Also, by the way, I was using a very incomplete bond, so as we continue to expand this one right here, we should see quite a bit more power the next time I decide to try this character out, probably with the buffs. So yeah, True Shikai Ichigo, the man that you are. I think you're really good. I don't think that he like. I think he needs comfort buffs. I don't think he needs like numbers buffs personally. Maybe less prone to getting hit out of his attacks, I've heard people say, or just taking damage in his attacks, more invulnerability windows. Yeah, I don't know. I think the character's really good at B0. B1, he seems to be insanely good. I don't B2 essentially anyone. For reference, the last time I B2'd a character, I had not actually been using the monthly subscription. I had been completely unspent just going in on Nellel because I thought she was so good. And the reason I started picking up the monthly subscription was actually so I could get B0 copy of Mayuri, of Soifon, and even Mayuri I didn't actually have the monthly activated for him. So I still needed to like just farm up rewards, get them passively and then finally, you know, grab his weapon during his own event. And it was more so for Soifon, for Zael. Thankfully, I was able to build up a big stockpile because I got so lucky on the Soifon patch. I mean, I pulled her in like 4,000 Jade. I pulled her dupe. I pulled her in tickets. I pulled her dupe in like 4,000 Jade or something like that. So, I got really lucky there. But yeah, it's one of those things where my expectation of a character never relies on B2. I typically go B0 to B1, but I do factor in B2 because it is possible to get by just skipping one character, by just getting by the averages of getting lucky, at least on one banner. You will eventually amass enough Jade over enough banners to grab a B2 character if you really want it. So yeah, I do factor it in, but really B0 to B1 are my mental benchmark. I say B0 to B2, but my mental benchmark for free to play and low spenders is B0 to B1. And as a B0 to B1 character, I think he is phenomenal. He just explodes on the screen, and whatever changes he gets, though I'm not expecting a Hail Mary or anything, I expect him to only get better. And with a proper made for him tactics character, it's going to be really hard to ignore. So if you don't go for a B0 and then thrust Yuryu tactics character, because I'll probably talk about this in another video, with Yuryu now being speculated to not actually be Spirit, but maybe be Slash, or maybe be even coming after Bambietta, and therefore being the thrust tactic, maybe, because that would fall into their rule, which is not releasing the same typing in a row. If they end up doing Bambietta second and then Yuryu third, he could be thrust, and then we could have Ichigo and Voldenstig, I think that's how you say it, Yuryu on the same team as Ichigo as like a rivals teaming up sort of thing. And suddenly we have the mega best team in the game because they have Mayuri. So we'll see. I have no information on that. It's all speculation. But the difference between a character performing without their best in slot tactic and with their best in slot tactic is completely different. And right now, Ichigo is performing without his best in slot tactics, and I still think he's the best free-to-play DPS in the game. I do. I think he's the best. So if he gets buffed, sure. If he doesn't, sure. But I don't know. That's my personal after a few days. Again, my showcase was day 0, day -1. We say in fighting games, day -1. Sometimes when it comes to trying out a character for the first time without any tech, without any rotation practice, day -1, Trishikai Ichigo impressed me in the damage he was doing. But yeah, you can tell me how you feel about it if you made it this far. Did you pull? Are you skipping? Are you going boundaries? Are you not? Hopefully, us free-to-play low spenders, we get a little compensation, even though we didn't ask for. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We get a little compensation. But yeah, I'll see you for more videos. 3 days away from Mirror's High, I think, as of this video going up. But yeah, I've been Lone. Like, if you like the video, subscribe to the club. We'll go make it, and peace.